Everybody needs to tell the truth. Sports Radio. I'm your host, Ron Fitch. I wanted to break down the two NFL games that took place. First, the Chiefs and the Chargers. And my headlines I put up there is it looks like the Chiefs are done. And they're still potentially a contender because Xavier Worthy got hurt, he'll come back. And Rasheed Rice will come back. And I like their wide receiving core. Uh, their running backs are solid. There's some issues that's going to sink the Chiefs. I don't know if they even make the playoffs unless it just turns around dramatically. It's the offensive line is still terrible. The defense is starting to not. Spagnola's trying to dial up all the defenses he can. Now Justin Herbert's great, and Chargers are a contender. That goes beyond saying. I'm not super crazy about their defense. I love the pieces they have. Different Mack and Derwin James is good, but you could kind of score in them. But we'll see. It's early. I don't like what I see out of the Chiefs. I see the same problem they had in the Super Bowl where they got annihilated, where they got ramrodded, and Mahomes is running for his life all the time. Always got to run. Never could sit back in a clean pocket, and sling it like Herbert was able to. But there were some key plays. The Chargers scored sevens, and the Chiefs scored six. What was huge was when the Chargers were finally about to tie the game. And Buckner missed the extra point to tie the game. And that was huge. That was really big because now you're chasing points. And once it was 20-19, now you're chasing points, and no, it was 20-12 because it was 13. It was going to be 13-13. Buckner never misses. He missed. That happens some rarely, but it does. Now you got to chase two-point conversion. I didn't like because I like when Kelsey's in the game with a 2-point conversion. They should have ran something where Kelsey's really good at those 2-point conversions. And he threw for Kelsey for a touchdown. Maybe Kelsey was tired of a 37-yard touchdown. But anyway, I still put him in there. And they didn't make it. Now they're down 2. And that's huge because if that game is tied, there's pressure on the Chargers, I guess. But the Chargers ran the ball and they threw the ball. And every time the Chargers needed to make a drive, they did. And with very little resistance from the Chiefs. And they ended up scoring the put-away touchdown to make it 27-18. And the Chiefs score, but it's not enough time because once you give the Chargers the ball back, they're going to get 3rd and 4. This is why the Chiefs are not going to go anywhere. I don't even think they're making the playoffs. They'll challenge, but this is why they're not going to go far this year. I think time's up. And with Mahomes there, if Andy Reid stays, they'll rebuild, but they're going to have to. This is going to be the beginning of the rebuild. I didn't like 3rd and 14, and Herbert rushes up the middle for 19, just untouched, like it was a high school game. That's so, and I'm just surprised because Spagnola will dial up the right defenses, but you know what? You can only do so much as a defensive coordinator, and that's a game. I didn't like nothing what I saw under the Chiefs. Their defense was okay, but then they were soft. They don't run the ball. They can't run the ball because the line can't. They're not making enough holes. There's not enough of a physicality with the line. The Chargers were physical. And I loved the way the Chargers, Harbaugh's going to run that ball. But Harbaugh threw the ball a lot. But Hampton, I'm surprised Najee Harris didn't play a lot. But Hampton, the rookie, was really good. He ran the ball when they had to. But McConkey was the hero. Even though Johnson scored 2 touchdowns and Keenan Allen scored, McConkey got every single big 3rd down reception. He was big. And Herbert was really good. Herbert was very impressive. 25 of 34. I think he was 7 of 7 on the one last drive. And 318 yards passing, 3 TDs, 0 interceptions. They had no turnovers. QBR is 131.7. That's as good as it gets. If I'm getting that out of Justin Herbert and maybe a little even better defensive effort, Chargers are going to win the division. I like them over the Broncos. Are going to be close because I love Bo Nix and Peyton, that combination. Their defense is really good. They're coming. They're on the come up. I love the Chargers because I think they have a little more experience, and I think them getting blown out by Houston, them losing the playoffs. Now they have the experience. And Herbert's been there. I just think that they're going to win the division. The Broncos are going to be the wild card because it definitely, or it could be on the flip side. It could be the Broncos win the division and the Chargers be in the wild card. But take a look on your schedule. When you see the Chargers and Broncos, that's going to be the game. Those two games are huge. But I was very impressed with the Chargers. Now, Dallas Cowboys, and I put up there, Ce Dee Lamb loses the game for the Cowboys. And he lost the game. It was a high-scoring first half where everybody was moving, and Dallas was doing what they were supposed to do. I knew Dallas was going to give them trouble. I love how Dallas came out, scored right away, nice drive. Javonte Williams, who ran the ball really good. That's a good addition from Denver. And then the Eagles come right back, Hurts rushing. He ran all over the Cowboys. Then the Cowboys come right back. And then Hurts comes right back and scores as 14-14. And then the Cowboys get a field goal, and then the Eagles come right down the field easily and score an end of the half touchdown with Saquon Barkley was really solid. Cowboys drive down and get a field goal instead of a touchdown, which was huge. And then in the third quarter, I believe, Williams fumbles. And then Dallas was driving. They missed a couple of touchdown opportunities. Dak played good. And then the Eagles come down because the Eagles didn't do much in the second half offensively. Jalen Hurts he looked like he was going back to his one read and run self. That's concerning because A.J. Brown finally caught some passes, but Brown and Smith were non-factors. I know Dallas was kind of played a certain coverage, but they also did a good job on Barkley. But the one thing the Cowboys is going to sink the Cowboys this year, no pass rush because now Parsons is gone. So they're a wild card contender because if Dak's going to play like that the whole year, the only thing I'm concerned with is Pickens. I know Pickens from my Pittsburgh days. And if he's not getting the ball, because they went Ce Dee Lamb, Ce Dee Lamb, Ce Dee Lamb, Ce Dee Lamb. And Pickens got four good targets and 3 catches. He's going to catch the ball you throw, and then he should have had a 4th catch, but Dak missed him in the end zone. If Dak throws that ball up there, Pickens is going to snatch the ball from the corner. It would have been a touchdown. Instead of a field goal, it would have been a touchdown, and they probably would have won the game. Ferguson's back. I love the way they use Turpin. I like Dallas's offense because Dak was solid, 21 and 34. He should have been better because Ce Dee Lamb dropped 3 balls, a 4th one where he died at the end. I'm going to give him a pass, but he dropped an easy pass deep down the seams where they were set up to probably win the game. He cost them the game with those drops. I hate to say it because Ce Dee Lamb was good in this game, but not good enough. You're a superstar. You might catch 7 passes and have a solid game stat-wise, but because you're the lead receiver makes those plays that lead to winning the game, and he did not do that. and it cost them. The Dallas would have could have went out and won and had the upper hand on the Eagles in the division, winning a road game. They've been up 1-0 in the NFC, and now you got the Eagles come back to Dallas, and now you're kind of playing with such confidence now. Hey, we can play without Parsons. They play good. Offensively, there's a lot of pressure going to be on Dallas because I didn't like the pass rush. You know what? The way they play the coverage, they play kind of scared of Devontae Smith and Brown, almost the way they played their deep coverage. And I'm wondering, Stephon Diggs was so good before the knee injuries, before his injuries overall. He was so good. He could just cover the field. He got beat a couple of times being over aggressive, but his speed, his length, he was the perfect prototypical cornerback. But because of his injuries, he can't just go out there and guard an AJ Brown where you could cover. He got that. Now you could really roll your coverage toward the other weapons, and you could really get after Jalen Hurts. And they got after him a little with blitzes, but Jalen Hurts running and Ce Dee Lamb dropping the football, dropping passes was terrible. I mean, Jalen Hurts rushed for 62 yards. He was the leading rusher over Barkley. And it was always 3rd and 5. He's getting 6. Keep the chains moving. 3rd and 7. He's getting 8. Keep the chains moving. And last year, his arm won the Super Bowl. He was throwing deep balls to Smith and Brown, and he was slinging it. So maybe they'll do that. But I'm gonna tell you, if you have games like this, win or lose, AJ Brown's gonna be reading Horton Gives a Who. He's gonna be reading Dr. Seuss books, and he's gonna be upset. Win or lose, he's gonna be like, I know you ran and got the first down, but I was open for 20 yards. I know you got the 7 yards, got the first down, and it's going to be a test of his patience if this is the game plan this year. But nevertheless, and another thing about the Eagles that I didn't like is their secondary. I know they lost Slade, their secondary. This game 1, but looked, and then, okay, Jalen Carter cannot get thrown out of game for spitting. That is ridiculous. I know he has some issues at Georgia. Man, you got to be better. He's walking the field smiling. You got to be more. You got to show more attrition. You got to be more like. I'm going out my way to apologize to my teammates. They lost, and they didn't have much of a pass rush. Dak had clean pocket, and he's the big push up the middle because quarterbacks like up the middle pressure. It just didn't like none of what I saw out of Carter. It's just very, very disappointing. And he's probably going to get a game. They could lose that. So, and you got the Rams and the Lions are healthy. Green Bay got Parsons. You can't play around this year. And Washington, I call them the Redskins. I might call them. I don't care about that. I don't care about the Redskins. It was ridiculous. They took that name. The American Indians didn't care about that. That was a group of rich elites just wanting to mess around with the name. They didn't. The people that lobbied to change the name, they just want to show their power. You go back to the Redskins, them fans will love that. Playing hell to the Redskins is not offensive to the beautiful American Indians, which my mother is one of. Okay, she doesn't have a problem with it. Okay? But anyway, I think the Eagles are still there, but it's going to be hard to repeat because you got to be healthy. You lost a lot in free agency, and I see it. And the defense, even though Blankenship was all over the place, we'll see. That secondary concerns me. And the Kansas City Chiefs secondary was lousy. And that's what really hurt them because Jones and their defensive front is solid. But that means nothing if you don't get to the quarterback and he has You'll get to him, but the times you can't always get to him. The times you don't get to him, and he's got time, and everybody's open. Nah, I didn't like what I saw the Chiefs. Finally, the Bills and the Ravens. This game's a toss up, but it's at Buffalo, and Jackson didn't play well in Buffalo in the playoffs, so he's going to be motivated. Look at Derrick Henry's stats. If they're running the ball and allows Jackson to run and sling the ball to Likely and there's a balance there, they're going to win. If there's not a balance there and Josh Allen is Josh Allen, he was conservative in that playoff game last year. If Josh Allen is Josh Allen and Cook is solid and they got Gabe Davis, they can get him involved. Buffalo's home, but this is big because I think whoever wins this, if they're going to be looking at each other and they're going to see in the standings, okay. Say, for instance, Baltimore loses, and they're looking at Buffalo in the standings, and they're 13-3, the Buffalo's 13-3. In an 18-game schedule, if they go 14 and 3, 17 games, 14 and 3, and the Bills go 14 and 3. You had a great season, but in the AFC Championship game, you got to go back to Buffalo. Or if it's the other way around and you lost to them, lost to the Ravens, you got to go back to no, you have to go to Baltimore and try to be a team that beats you in your home. A lot of times it don't matter because the Chiefs went to the Super Bowl when they're on the road, but you want to be home when you have a chance to go to the Super Bowl.